I, along with other faculty members at that Clovis meeting, questioned the value of usurping local control over distance education services, Canvas, and centralizing them here in the district office. That resulted in a lengthy email trying to explain the why. More recently, I believe key faculty with expertise in distance ed were summoned to meet with the Deputy Chancellor and Vice Chancellor and also the District Director of Distance Education. I can only imagine that certificates of appreciation were not handed out, but I can ask, were they?
But when we returned to the classroom, things felt different. Politics had invaded the district, not the politics of left or right, but those with power and those who must speak up. With more power claimed by the district, our students are negatively impacted. A change to Canvas and Turnitin was made before the semester without faculty knowledge. It took 9 weeks before I finally met with our district liaison, and the issue was never resolved. Where was the faculty voice? I warn you against making decisions without faculty input and not giving us proper training for new products such as Grammarly.
I'm here to share with you my very deep concerns regarding the planned implementation of the Grammarly or superhuman software that was approved for purchase by this board for $165,000 this past September. And while I acknowledge Deputy Chancellor Holt McDonald's notification last week that implementation will be delayed during the spring 2026 semester, it is clear as written in that specific email that implementation is the continued goal. And it is the latter that I have a very serious problem with, and I am asking for a full stop or a return to sender, as it were. With the time I have left today, I will explain why. My college's mission statement reads, creating opportunities one student at a time, and what Grammarly will unfortunately allow for is the creation for opportunities of dishonesty, mediocrity, and complacency for students in bulk. This software will heighten academic barriers for students because it undermines and circumvents the developmental thinking, planning, drafting, and critical thinking strategies that are curated over time, over time rather than in a 2-minute inquiry. And per the evaluation of the Grammarly software so astutely put together by my friend and colleague and presented to our academic senate in November, there are no guardrails to prevent students from using it to alter or supplant their writing or simply write for them. While Grammarly won't write a full essay based on a prompt or request from the user, but don't worry, ChatGPT and Gemini will do that anyway. It will, however, construct one paragraph at a time and conveniently change style and tone to sound more empathetic or argumentative based on whatever a student hopes might fit the bill. And it will not be able to, quote, enhance the writing environment for faculty and students, unquote, as advertised by the Grammarly Campus Champions document sent to the college implementation teams earlier this semester. If you want students to deepen their critical thinking skills, to be discerning citizens, and to go out in the community upon graduation with actual skills that translate into long-term employability, do not implement this software. So, my question for you is, what type of student are you hoping to create with the implementation of this technology? Is it your hope that students will abandon the depths of their own thinking in favor of glossy, surface-level responses so that they stop trying altogether? Because guess what? That is exactly the message you are sending, whether you intend to or not. You will be telling students not to worry about the big words or ideas that they might not yet fully understand, and to take the easy way out, let the AI champion win the fight for them. That message is dangerous. The message I would like to see this district send is one that champions academic integrity, honesty, and a belief that students we educate might have something to contribute to the world rather than be flattened by it. And I will close with a quote from the all-too-knowing C.S. Lewis that appropriately reads, when the world is running, appears to have lost his mind. Can I finish? Okay. So I'll read it again. When the whole world is running toward a cliff, who he is running in the opposite direction appears to have lost his mind. And while some of you may think I may have lost my mind in calling upon you to trash a $165,000 purchase, you can rest assured knowing that I will never be one of the sheep following the mass, culture-obsessed, AI-dazed crowd over a cliff. I will be the lion walking slowly in the opposite direction, hopefully not alone. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Clayton?
Good afternoon. Thank you all for this space and for this time. My name is Clayton Plake. My pronouns are he, they, and I am newly minted English faculty at Clovis Community College. I wish to speak to you today regarding the proposed district-wide implementation of Grammarly as a replacement for Turnitin.com. I am aware that the initial plan for rolling out the AI-powered writing tool in spring of 26 has been postponed. I wish to urge the board to reconsider the move from Turnitin to Grammarly, to consider permanently halting all efforts in that regard, or at minimum, to reconsider using Grammarly as a replacement for Turnitin. I would politely ask the board to consider or to reconsider the idea that feeding words, phrases, or sentences to an LLM deep learning algorithm does not in fact foster meaningful communication, but rather creates barriers to it. And in common with other AI-based so-called writing tools, Grammarly does so in ways that are measurably harmful. At a global level, we could point to evidence of the ecological degradation connected to AI testing centers. We could also point to AI's persistent complicity in racism and other forms of oppression, as AI flattens out linguistic diversity and affirms the superiority of communication patterns connected to dominant societal groups over those of others. Language is not and has never been neutral. Institutional use of language is not and has never been neutral. AI creates the illusion of objectivity where cultural and other biases remain sadly active and alive. At a local level, however, it is students who will be harmed, and students are amply aware of this fact. Another of my colleagues who could not be here today polled students in their courses regarding AI use. Said one student very directly, "AI ruins my ability to think creatively and critically." And with all respect sincerely offered the board, I believe they are right. Rather than empowering students to think critically and creatively, AI compels students to surrender their power for self-advocacy to machines. AI impairs creativity and critical reflection and promotes conformity to standards of communication that are literally rendered inhuman and are anything but objective. And along with that, AI also impairs my ability as an instructor to meaningfully meet students where they are because it imprisons key parts of their selfhood in prisons built by robots. In closing, I wish to again request the board reconsider its decision regarding district-wide implementation of Grammarly. Its advantages are far outweighed by disadvantages and are not worth the $165,000 price tag, in my opinion. Finally, while I believe ethical and beneficial use of AI is possible, I would offer this requires more time, attention, and dedication, especially given that Turnitin anticipates being fully compliant with the WCAG 2.2 AA standard by the end of 2025. It is my hope that the change in timetable for district-wide Grammarly implementation has created a space for that dialogue, as I believe that Grammarly's adoption in lieu of Turnitin is not the way forward. These are different tools. They do not do the same thing.
The move to purchase Grammarly did not follow that process, and the rationale to the purchase conflicts with not only the pedagogy of teaching writing, it flies in the face of participatory governance, and this tool essentially alters the very curriculum we are teaching. That is number one of the 10+1. I've been teaching first-year writing at Clovis for 21 years. Without explicit guidance, Grammarly becomes a hidden co-author and an invisible editor and a shortcut rather than a learning tool. This contradicts my work as a writing teacher. I am seeking to teach students responsible AI use, transparency, metacognitive engagement, and support them in developing student agency. Currently, faculty at Clovis are piloting a tool called Nectar AI from the Chancellor's Office. This tool is free to all the colleges, being expanded in use, and allows faculty to control the guardrails of AI as much as we can. It allows us to guide students into effective practices for using AI rather than a tool that seeks to take over their work and their writing. So let us engage in real participatory decision-making, allowing faculty to pilot and test tools to determine what fits best into the curriculum we develop and plan. Grammarly frames writing as a set of errors to be corrected, a problem to be fixed quickly, something that needs cleaning up. It clashes with my teaching pedagogy of growth mindset, writing as development, process pedagogy, and labor-based assessment. My ask for today is that the temporary pause we put on Grammarly is not simply a way to pacify faculty that have complained, but that we engage in real dialogue around a tool or tools that will fit our needs best.
Over the course of the last year or so, there have been multiple instances of Dr. Steeley and Dr. Frost making the work of participatory governance more challenging, of being dismissive of faculty input and perspectives. You have seen examples of these in our memo of concern and brought forward in public comment. Our Senate would not consider our first ever vote of no confidence over simple disagreements. These are symptoms of a larger problem, an unwillingness to do the hard work of participatory governance. As I said, we are also bringing forward a memo of concern in Chancellor Goldsmith. This is because we are concerned that these issues with Dr. Frost and Dr. Steeley are not being sufficiently addressed. I know that actions have been taken, but more actions are needed. We are concerned that this situation is resulting in a culture that is not what State Center should aspire to. I love working at Reedley College. I am proud of the district. I absolutely believe that we can course correct, but we need to hold true to doing the hard work of participatory governance that is necessary to be excellent.